Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do Mortal Kombat 11 online gameplay with my boy the Terminator. Real quick, for every 100 subscribers this channel gets, I'm going to do a $100 giveaway to one lucky subscriber. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so and hit the like button down below. And remember, any donations, big or small, will help the channel grow. Thank you, hope you enjoyed today's video. Alright, here we go. So let's get into the Terminator story, right? Now it says here, time travel stories are often full of crazy variables, paradox, and plot holes. That's especially true for the Terminator franchise, originally created by James Cameron. The core story of the series is a compelling that filmmakers can't help but to try their hands at it. Despite all of this timely-wimey and weirdness, after all, the central idea of a human-led resistance against a bloodthirsty machine compelled with the endless possibility of time travel is a screenwriter's catnip. I like that, that's smart. Now it says here, of course, with such a major franchise, new fans can have a little bit of trouble getting things straight. After all, there are 6 films and a TV series. Oh, and yeah, an amusement park ride, right? Each installment has waded into the river of time and kicked out a lot of slit. I would personally say shit, but slit is the word they use, making it hard to see anything clearly. But like any new Terminator director, we're going to do our best to set things straight. Now it says here, today we're going to focus on the crazy tale of time-traveling robots from the origins of Skynet to the endless cybernetic showdowns. We'll be going from the original film to Dark Fate, which I haven't seen that movie. I think that's the only Terminator movie I haven't seen personally. But to me, the best one was Judgment Day Part 2, then the original Terminator, and then whatever. Oh, and then the one with Batman, where he was playing John Connor. I think that would be my third best movie out of all the Terminator movies. But anyways, let's keep going. It says here, so it says here, it's to Dark Fate. So come with us if you want to understand. See what they did. It says come with me if you want to live. So they say come with us if you want to understand. That was pretty funny. This is the complicated Terminator franchise explained. The Terminator timeline starts with a dark future. In the world of the Terminator, humans created advanced supercomputers that eventually become self-aware enough to realize when they are being threatened. Now, when scientists realize this computer network has become sentient, they attempt to shut down their creation down. Seeing humans as an essential threat, the ultra-smart machine set out about systematically wiping them out. In 1997, the computer take control of the United States nuclear arsenal and use it to kill as much of the human population as possible. The few surviving humans build an underground resistance, hiding from the weapons and the robots built by their intellect computer network known as Skynet, to hunt them down and exterminate them. This resistance is led by one man, John Connor. As the general in the future, he successfully turns the tide against the machines. Let me see what else it says here. And has them on their cybernetic heels. In the year 2029, he leads the most successful attack on the computers since the first strike, effectively shutting down Skynet by destroying their defense system, in which is one was in Colorado. Now, Skynet recognized that Connor will be the biggest threat to its continued existence post 2029. Much in the same way that it launched the missile on what came to be known as Judgment Day back in 1997, the computer network makes moves to ensure its own survival. It sends back a killer cyborg with the mission to kill Connor's mother before John could be born. Now it says here, dueling time travelers. Let me see what it says here. The first film in the Terminator series begins with John Connor and Skynet having sent back representative using a time machine or the time displacement device, or it says here, to prevent their own representative extinctions, knowing that Skynet has sent a Terminator, especially a muscle-bound T-800 Arnold Schwarzenegger, to kill his mother. Connor sends back one of his own soldiers, Kyle Reese. It says here, in the military action called Operation Chrono. Now it says here, the two time travelers arrived in Los Angeles in 1984 with nothing but the skin. It says down there barebacks. The two quickly set about acquiring clothes and weapons, and needless to say, the Terminator's shopping methods are a bit more murderous. Then, in their search for John's mother, Sarah Connor, the two hit up the same. Wait, the two hit up the same idea. Consult the local phone book. Weapon in hand, the T-800 begins systematically slaughtering every Sarah Connor in Los Angeles. Unfortunately, the mother of mankind's messiah is smart enough to realize that she's on a hit list. Working as a diner waitress, Sarah sees news reports that a woman with her name are being murdered. And she eventually winds up hiding in a nightclub called the Technoid. Now, where she calls the cops. But before the boys in blue can show up, both the T-800 and Kyle Reese stumble into the club, guns a-blazing. Reese rescues Sarah, but as they try to escape the Terminator, they run afoul all of the police, ultimately getting themselves arrested. Sarah Connor is briefly victorious. It says here, once the cops chase them down, Kyle Reese is grilled by the police and psychologists who question his story about being a time traveler from the future. Yeah, buddy, anybody would think you would be crazy. Now it says here, sent to save the last hope of human resistance against a malicious machine. Unfortunately, while Reese is being detained, the robotic serial killer tracks Sarah down to the police station. And after ramming his car through the front desk, he proceeds to murder every single police officer in the precinct. Now it says here, forced to go on the run again, Kyle and Sarah hide out at a hotel. And at that point, Kyle shares his story and that he's in love with Sarah. In fact, he's been obsessing over her since John first showed him a picture of her. Now, eventually, they both cut off the lights and eventually they have sex. Nothing like thank God I'm alive sex, right? Now, it says here, but the Terminator has no time for love. And after murdering Sarah's mother and impersonating her voice over the phone, he finds out that he finds our heroes yet again, leading to a final fight, the big showdown. Sarah and Kyle battle the T-800 with a pipe bombs, explosive, his true cybernetic skeleton. Eventually, the trio wind up in a factory where Kyle dies from his injuries sustained in the fight, and Sarah crushes the Terminators to death with the hydraulic press. Now, the paradox on paradox in the Terminator, even it says the tightest writing can avoid hitting a few paradox when dealing with the time travel. But the Terminator franchise takes its claim as the king of time travel movies by steering into the skid. They stupid. The paradox are baked into the films from the very beginning, and the movies make no efforts to hide it. In short, the whole thing is built upon the predestination paradox, the idea that someone could travel to the past and affect the future in that way. Now, needless to say, the time travelers to the past in the first place, the entire Terminator universe spawns from this one impossibility as laid out in a coda of the first film. Okay. Now it says here the Terminator ends with a pregnant Sarah Connor driving through Mexico via audio tapes that she's recording for her unborn son, John. We learn that Kyle Reese is the father when she stops for gas. A child snaps her photo and sells the Polaroid to her. And it's his very same one that John Connor gave to Reese in the future. In short, John knew that Reese was his father and sent him back in time so he could protect his mother. By sending him back, John created the circumstances of his birth, which would eventually lead to him fronting the resistance. However, the fight against Skynet would lead to them sending back the Terminator. Now, it will produce the need to send Reese back and save his mother's life, and so on and so forth, eternity, right? Now, to be a fan of the James Cameron's time travel classic, you just have to try and not think about it too hard. Let yourself give in to the nosebleed. It says here. I mean, if you try to explain every single detail, you're gonna kill the movie for yourself. Just go with it. We know it's a movie. It don't gotta be true until they actually invent time travel. Just enjoy it. Sit back and enjoy. Now it says here, he'll be back. Now the humans aren't the only ones locked in an eternal loop. The spare parts of the Terminator found in the factory after Sarah Connor brushes with death are soon found, and researchers from the Cyberdyne system who are working on advanced computer and robotics, in other words, the building blocks of Skynet, are created by unwritten scientists using the technology left behind. Afterwards, Skynet sent a murderous robot from the future to protect itself now. So, as far as Sarah is between the first and second film, she travels through Latin America with her young son. She befriends various guerrilla fighters and military men in order to train her son to be a resistant fighter in the future wars against the machines. She explains this to John before going off to attack a factory building and computer components that will become Skynet. When she is arrested, she reveals the future attack by the machine and is immediately and naturally she is proclaimed insane and locked away in a mental institution. This leads to a 10-year-old John to believe his mother is merely insane, although he uses the skills he was taught to pull off minor scams and crimes under the noses of his foster parents. So now we're ready on Judgment Day. So it takes a killer to stop a killer, right? So after its first failed attempt to snuff out John Connor, Skynet is ready for round 2, sending back another newer Terminator in 1995 to kill the preteen John. Now the adult John knows this, and it's going to happen as he already lived it. So he sends back and reprograms the version of the original Terminator model to protect his younger self. In Terminator 2 Judgment Day largely consists of the duel between this newer shape-shifting Terminator and the older model, which to me was the best iconic bad guy next to Darth Vader. You have to understand, bad guys like this, and Shredder, like bad guys like this make the movie more than what it is, because you have your good guy, but you need a good bad guy so they could dance, so they could fight, so they could have the drama. And I think Terminator, Star Wars, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with Shredder, like, come on, if you have a whack ass villain, your good guy ain't gonna amount to shit neither. Like Batman and Joker, like, come on, like, you have to have a good bad guy to make your series be good. So let me go back to what it was saying here. Terminator 2 Judgment Day largely consists of the duel between his newer shape-shifting Terminator and the older model. Oh my god, if you haven't seen Judgment Day, do yourself a favor and go watch that movie. It's the best out of the whole franchise. Now, after saving John, young John, from being run down by the liquid metal T-1000, the friendly T-800 helps break Sarah Connor out of the mental institution. Let me see what it says here. They come across Sarah in the midst of her own escape, helping her outrun both the authorities and the robots sent back to wipe out the Connor clan off the planet. Sarah's first instinct is to head back to Mexico, where she stocked up on weaponry while hiding with some sympathetic friends. Okay, I'm gonna stop it right here because I want you to see the Terminators ending with Chronica. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Catch you guys on the next one.
It was an epic accident that brought the Terminator here, rather than to his own Earth's past. But it didn't take long for him to adapt. He figured that terminating Chronica and taking her hourglass gave him the best chance at achieving his mission objective: destroying humanity so that the machines prevail. Turns out the hourglass wasn't the ultimate weapon. No matter how many times the Terminator rebooted history, the war between humans and the machines always ended the same, with their mutual destruction. He realized this war was a losing game. The only way to win was not to play. So the Terminator used the hourglass to build a future where machines and humans don't fight. They cooperate. The Terminator knew that to preserve this future, no one else could learn about the hourglass. The information stored in his machine mind was dangerous. It had to be eliminated. That's why the Terminator threw himself into the infinite depths of the Sea of Blood. No one would ever find him, or unlock the hourglass's secrets. If you could ask him about it, he'd tell you he made the only logical choice. But in my book, that machine's a hero.